What's up guys, Nano here, and it's been a while since I've made my last video, I think like 5 weeks, and it's because I've been playing so much TBC. But now that we're this far into TBC's launch, the cracks are really starting to show a bit. Players are starting to beg for changes. Personally, the Horde battleground change was, I think, the first of many changes that Blizzard are going to be considering over these next few weeks, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about what I think about the battleground change, as well as what I think might be coming in the future of TBC. So, let's talk about it. A couple housekeeping items here real quick before we jump into the rest of the video. Make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps with the algorithm. You guys know the deal by now. Every YouTube video says this, but it really does help, so I'd appreciate it if you take those 2 seconds. Just pause, scroll down, click those 2 buttons, and it would really help me out. The other thing I did want to mention is that I tweeted this out on Twitter, but I've actually joined the OTK network as a sales consultant. So I do sales in my real life, and I get to combine it a little bit in helping OTK build their brand even stronger. And so if you're a brand out there, or you know somebody that knows somebody at a brand and they want to get invested into what OTK is doing, sponsor some events, maybe get some games played by the streamers, hit me up. We'd love to talk about it a little bit more, and I'm super excited to work with some great dudes in the WoW scene and otherwise, and help them grow their brand with OTK. Just want to get that out there so you guys can know and just celebrate with me a little bit of new little adventure that I have in my life. Okay, let's jump in. Horde battleground queue changes. So if you don't know what is going on, Blizzard has implemented a pretty massive change that allows Horde to play against Horde in battlegrounds, except for Alterac Valley. And the reason why they made this change is that Horde experienced some massive queue times, pushing over an hour at times just for a battleground, and it's probably caused some massive decreases in player participation and even unsubscriptions from Horde players who really just want to PvP and get into the game, but the queue times are too much for them to be able to enjoy the game. So Blizzard stepped in and made this change, and it's massive, right? Horde playing against Horde in battlegrounds is something that we haven't seen really ever until Mercenary Mode was added, I think, in WoD. And it's not even the same thing. So they actually implemented a custom change for TBC, full Horde teams to play against Horde teams instead of Mercenary Mode, where you pretend to be an alliance and battlegrounds for a little while. If you're still watching this video, you probably want to know, hey Nano, what's your opinion? Tell me, is this good? Is this bad? Well, if you're a Horde player, it's probably a really good thing, especially if you want to PvP consistently. Those instant queues are probably feel really nice after sitting in an hour queue the day before. If you're an alliance player, well, you don't really lose anything here except for the advantage that you have over Horde players that don't already have that gear. But at the top end PvP levels, they already have it. The sweaties of the sweaties already have all the gear that they need. There's also a second byproduct here for Alliance that's pretty beneficial, is that with all the Horde now in battlegrounds instead of out in the world, those hungry Horde for honor are now actually in battlegrounds instead of hunting you out in the world. So if you're a lobby Alliance who's been ganked consistently, you probably are hoping that this queue time thing is implemented finally and completely soon, so you're stop being ganked by those players who really want all the honor. The last question to ask here, though, is what purpose is there to being Alliance anymore? They're worse in PvE. They're worse in PvP. They don't have the instant queue time advantage anymore, and right now they're the dwindling population in terms of the faction balance in TBC. While both factions did increase and when TBC launched compared to the end of Classic, Horde almost have lapped them multiple times since then. And now we're seeing old original servers like Herod now basically dead because all the Alliance have now transferred off to different servers. And those faction balances are not going to get better as TBC moves on. There's advantages to winning Hala consistently. There's advantages to always having the Akandun towers. And a 50-50 split, well, maybe that's not what you want anymore. And you want to go to the easy pickings on these different servers. Maybe this is a situation where you think you do, but you don't. Actually does apply. Oof. So in essence, the Horde battleground queue times are just one of the symptoms of one of the diseases that TBC has, and that's the faction imbalance. And so the next question is, does Blizzard do anything about Alliance being weaker than Horde? I don't think they do. I don't think that Blizzard and the Classic team is going to go into TBC and intentionally buff Alliance racial abilities in order to even out the balance between Alliance and Horde. And what that means is that there's going to be no benefit long term to being Alliance, to rolling Alliance, to re-rolling Alliance, to staying Alliance. And so I only foresee this faction balancing getting worse. But what are some of the ways that they could make these changes to make Alliance seem more beneficial than Horde? Well, they could add a spell. Every Man for Himself was added in Wrath of the Lich King in response to these faction imbalances in TBC, especially in PvP. That's the reason why every man for himself was added to the game, was to rebalance PvP from being Horde dominant to allowing the Alliance to have some really good abilities to go with Will of the Forsaken. But every man for himself was the most broken racial ability that's ever existed in WoW. Period. And so I don't think they're going to go that far. They could buff some of the abilities on the Alliance side. You could buff Escape Artist. You could make Stone Form work against Blind again. You could do a number of other things to make the Alliance racials better. You could also nerf the Horde racials, which would be interesting. What if Will of the Forsaken was now linked with Trinket, so you couldn't have both in an arena game? What if they were able to, reduce hardiness levels from 15% after the down from 25% in Classic, now at 15% for TBC? What if they nerfed it further to 10 or 5? It would still be really strong, but not as OP as it is right now. Short of these massive racial rebalancing, I don't think there's any reason why any player would go to Alliance from Horde, even if you were to get a free epic mount, or I don't know, honor levels were faster, or I don't think players at this point are going to restart their characters just for those benefits. It's just not going to. And so rebalancing racials is the only way that I see this faction balancing getting any better as we move towards the end of TBC, and I don't see Blizzard doing it either. So I just think that we're doomed in TBC to see this Horde dominant faction continue to dominate as we move forward. Alright, let's shift gears here back to the PvE world, and let's talk about dual specialization. This is a change that was made in Wrath of the Lich King that allowed you to have 2 specs concurrently, and you could press a button in a rested area and go to a different spec. And you didn't have to go back to your trainer constantly to respec and pay the 50 gold over and over and over again. It was a pretty, well-received change, but it does make the game a lot more accessible, and it ensures that everyone is always in the spec that they want to much more frequently than otherwise would exist. And so you won't see prop paladins questing in the world. You won't see healing druids out in the world trying to do some quests. They're gonna respec and use their dual specialization to do that. So it does take away a little bit of the spec identity. Personally, I think the dual spec is okay. It kind of rubs me the wrong way when you add later expansion changes to the game right now, but this is one where I don't really see it changing the way that the game is played all that much. People aren't going into PvP in arenas as their PvE spec. They're spending the 50 gold anyway. You're just creating the hassle of having them going back to a capital city to respec before they can play their game. They don't want to go help their guildies and heroics because, well, I'm PvP spec. I'm Soul Link Siphon Life, and I suck in dungeons. I don't want to subject myself to drain lifing to maximize my DPS. I'd rather press Shadow Bolt and press Shadow Fury. That's way more fun. But I'm not going to spend 50 gold, actually 100 gold, to respec to that and then come back. It's just not going to happen. And so it lowers the overall heroic participation, and it makes me feel worse not being able to help my guildies play. And so I think this dual specialization does help engagement in the game. It does encourage people to try different aspects of the game, and it doesn't punish them for doing so. And so in that situation, I'm okay with it. But again, in general, I am pretty wary about adding later expansion changes to any version of classic games. This is one that I think is on the edge of being okay and would be a good change for TBC. So I think that this is a possibility as well. I think it was in the zeitgeist for a while on Reddit and on Twitter that dual specialization was needed. It's gone away in favor of the queue times change that's coming up, but I think it will come back, especially as players raid and then immediately respec to PvP again, and they get annoyed with having to spend that 100 gold every single week. And like, just give me dual spec already. It doesn't change how I play the game whatsoever, but it makes it just slightly easier. And I think I agree with that argument. So if I really had to put my money on it, I would bet that we do see dual specialization come to TBC Classic. Okay, last thing here, arena teams. I think they're going to go away. The flavor of arena teams is really cool. Having a team name and an identity and all that kind of stuff is really nice. And I think that they could keep the essence of that, but the way that the MMR system and the rating system is set up right now is that you're really punished if you want to play with other friends that aren't already on your arena team. I've encountered it already. A number of friends have encountered it where you play a twos match, right? Twos is especially hard for this because it's so easy to get a game going, but it's so restrictive in terms of team size. I play with I'm a warlock. I typically play with a druid. I've sometimes played with a priest, but that priest is also played with another warlock and another rogue, and there's just not enough room on a single arena team for him to join me consistently and stay on the same team. And so every time we want to play, he has to rejoin my arena team, and his rating is now back at 1,000, and we have to climb up the ratings again as a twos team, and we're hurting our arena rating overall, and it's hurting my teammate who's not actually already playing with me. And so the idea behind the arena teams is really cool. I think we could keep the essence, like you join a team, you have a name, but I think we can get rid of the rating associated with the team and have the rating be personal from now on. I don't think it's that different from what it currently exists as, but it doesn't punish people for wanting to play with more friends, right? I have a lot of people I'd love to play arena with, but I can't because the arena system is so restrictive. So I think that moving into season 2, 3, and 4, I think we'll see a similar change to this. Maybe they'll get rid of arena teams altogether, but I think the smaller, wiser change is keep arena teams, you queue up as a team, you have your team name, you have the flavor associated with that, but your personal rating is separate from your team rating, and that's what you get points rated off of. That's how you get Gladiator and the titles at the end of the season, and that way you can play with whoever you want. So that's my suggestion. If Blizzard is watching this, how you fix arena teams, and I think that's a change that will happen coming in season 2 and beyond, is that arena teams won't matter for your rating anymore, and it'll all be personal rating as it is in modern day WoW. Okay, time to jump into the comments section and let me know how right or wrong you think I'm going to be. Is Blizzard going to buff factions and make the Alliance stronger than they currently are? Are they going to care about the faction balance in TBC whatsoever? Are they going to add dual specialization, or are they going to get rid of arena teams mattering for your arena rating every single week? Let me know in the comment down below and what else you think Blizzard might work on, and maybe you'll see it in a future video. So again, thanks everybody. I'm Nano. Leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one, however long that might be.